All right, so up until now, we've looked at that first value, A, which is controlling, as we know so far, how narrow the parabola can get. But instead of increasing this A value here, that in this case is a 1, let's actually maybe start decreasing it. So for my next one, I'm going to put y equals, let's go for 0.2. X to the power of 2. And as you can see, what's happening here is it's actually getting wider. It's actually going to get wider again. So I bet if we continue, we can kind of figure out what's going to happen. So I'm going to pop it in another one here. Let's go for 0.5 x to the power of 2. Oops, not 0.5, sorry, 0.1 x to the power of 2. We're finding it gets wider again. So the smaller the number, we're noticing that the smaller the value of A, we're actually getting a wider and wider and wider parabola. So in this case, we can actually conclude that when A is less than 1, because these numbers are all smaller than the 1 that's here. When it's less than 1, it's a vertical compression. Vertical compression. Basically, it means that if I'm, again, working along the y-axis, I'm kind of squishing it down. I'm compressing it. So imagine this kind of red parabola, and I'm pressing it down against the x-axis, and it's getting wider. So we call this a vertical compression. And again, we are going to do the same kind of convention. It's by a factor of A. By a factor of A. So in this case, we would say that this is a vertical compression by a factor of 0.1. Often you'll find that you'll see we'll be using fractions more than decimals. I just popped it in for ease for the program. So before we I do want to kind of not leave it like this because I want to show you something. I'm going to get out of the drawing mode for a second. That it's not everything is quite as it seems here, because when we get to a certain point, we're lowering this and working with positive fractions still. But when we get to a point where we're starting to go so below 1 that in fact we're negative, it's going to break down. So this and say, and I'm going to show you why, that it has to be bigger than 0. So this just basically means that A has to be positive, a positive number that's between 0 and 1. So things like a positive fraction in which the value is less than 1. That's what that means. So if we get to the point where we start going negative, something else is going to happen, and we're going to work on that next.